Now we're going to look into the Simatic S7-1500 programmable controller. So what we're going to look into first is the program controller itself and a little about the CPU in this video. So let's see if we jump down to the S7 programmable controller. So it looks like this. We have got a rack or rail, which is a metal plate. It's pressure made to be kind of cope with EMC problems, EMI problems that you have. So it's a shield too in the back. We got a CPU here. Well, first we have a power supply. We need power, a CPU with Ethernet interfaces, and then we got I/O module, input, outputs. Here are the four types we have. What is not shown here, we have communication modules and special modules and so on. So that's what it is. And now I open the lids, and here we got wiring instruction in front and so on. So this is the modular PS system. Yes. So if we walk down here, just look at the CPU. The CPU itself has some status indication up. If it's running, it should be green, then it's running and executing a problem. If you want to execute a problem, else it should be orange. It is not running. You have a micro memory card. Without this card, the CPU won't work. And we have a run stop switch, middle position. It's not running. Up, the program is initialized and starts to run. And if you push it down and hold it down, as a memory reset, so you lose the program. Use it with caution. Then you have network status. There are some LEDs here too. The network interface. So this is your Ethernet. Yes, there are LEDs here too for the status up here. But here is the interface. You have two ports here and one port here. This one is usually used for HMI communication, programming device, and so on. And this is for field bus communication. Profinet to the left. And so on. RJ45, we have got a legacy Profin bus interface. If you have old plants or something that still use the IO Profinet, and you could keep it, because IO tends to live a little longer than your PLC system. So it's a DC9, and you have got power supply, 24 volt DC, which is the power in the PLC world. Yeah. So in the CPU, you have got memory areas. We have your TI portal, which is not your CPU, but that's where you do your programming, a project in step 7. Then we have got something load memory, which you transfer to. And then on the CPU itself, you have got work memory. That's where your operating system or your CPU transfer what's necessary to work memory. And then you've got retentive memory too. And retentive memory is a memory where you keep the value even if your power disappears. The work memory, that's let's say, can be static, which means to keep the value as long as your program is running, or it can be temporary and so on. And then you have got additional memory areas too. Of course, we need inputs to your PLC and outputs from your PLC. And and this temporary local data that we talked about. The work memory is where you store your program and program data. And you have some built-in functions that you can use built-in function, of course, but you don't have to. We have programmed high-level language, and we are capable of counting ourselves, and the timing we can do too. Yes, and they have some of the global memory areas too that you should avoid. But input and output we need, of course. That's this big memory and so on. Yes, what else we do have? It's a display on here where we've got the status LEDs on top, always visible. The first figure, the lid was open, the display was open up. It says status, but you can also configure. You have some diagnostic information. You can set network addresses on the front if it's a new out of a box and you want to set the network address. You can do it by navigating with arrows and enter and so on, escape. I'm not going to go into this, but if you lay your hand on the PLC like this, just play around a little around with the display. Don't do it on live plant. Do it in the lab or something. Yeah. So it's a little, it's possible. Let's say it's not that intuitive to enter IP addresses, but you have to kind of navigate to, and it's on white, and when to don't push escape, or when to push enter. It's not that easy to assess always, but whatever, that's what it is. So that was the CPUs that we looked into, and a little about the memory areas and so on. So this video was general about the Simatic SM1500 system. It's a rack or a rail with good EMC MI properties and so on. We got a power supply, CPU, and I/O modules. We didn't show special modules like communication modules that you can have, serial communication, and so on. That wasn't shown. And then a little on there's a front display that we looked at too. And that display, have a little fun with it if you can lay your hands on the CPU like this with a display.